Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I of course am the FPL Train, and in this video, as you can see, we're going to be looking at what transfers we could look at going for ahead of game week 3. Now the 3 transfers that I've got on here, of course, a defender, midfielder and a striker. Not going to be looking at any goalkeepers because I don't think there's any to go for, and is it really worth making a transfer for a goalkeeper unless he's injured and sent off, which last time I checked, none of that's happened so far. Then there's no point in really looking at goalkeepers. So there's going to be 3 transfers to look at ahead of game week 3, just like there was in game week 2. And as you can see, there's 3 players in front of you here. These are the guys who I recommended we go for ahead of game week 2. So we're going to go through them as we go. So starting us off, I've gone for, well, I said defensive change, go for Levi Colwill. Chelsea's fixtures, they look really good going forward. He looks like he's going to be the starting centre off. Him and Fofana, 50-50 which one you go for. But I prefer personally Colwill. I think he's an absolutely outstanding defender. The Wolves game didn't go though to plan. So overall he only scored 1 point, which is pretty naff really. Considering obviously, if you had Robertson at the same price, he got 7 points. So yeah, wasn't great. But like I've just said, the fixtures for Chelsea are good going forward. It's just that game week was pretty bad, they're letting 2 goals, but they've still got good fixtures coming up. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, they weren't great defensively last season, so it does make you worry a little bit, but he's 4.5 million, and like I keep saying, for the next 5 games now, they look good for Chelsea. So I still think it's a good pick, it's just that game week did not go to plan. Unlike Kevin De Bruyne though, who did actually work out a proper treat. Now I said this last week, he's not actually exactly highly owned. At the time he was about 9% owned, he's now gone up to 11%. But I was like, come on guys, he's going to start. They've lost Alvarez. So far I've not brought anybody in. Foden, I didn't expect him to be out completely with an illness, but he was out. So there's a good chance he's going to play 90 minutes like he did in the first game against Chelsea. Now he did play 89, not 90 this time. But they were 4-1 up at the time, so you can't argue with that at all, can you? So he has gone up in price as well. He's now 9.6, he was 9.5 last week. So he got a goal and an assist. Obviously, he got 2 bonus points as well as players. So we ended up with 12 points overall. So if you did go for that pick, well done. I've been saying, look, everyone's going for different differential. Well, the same differential, should I say. They're all going for Saka. Not Colwell. I'm just looking in there. Saka, Palmer, same team though. Salah or Haaland, go for somebody different that's high priced. Believe it or not, they do score points as well, which is why they're highly priced. And Kevin De Bruyne is one of those players. So if you did take out, let's say, Saka, who did have a tough game against Aston Villa, you could easily swap it back round quickly. So you got 12 points there, you got double amount of points than what Saka got. So it just makes sense to go for De Bruyne that game week. And even then, going forward, look, Man City's next 2 games, they're pretty decent as well. You got West Ham and Brentford. And then obviously they did have a couple of tough fixtures. Well, I'll probably say 1. I don't think Newcastle is as tough at the minute, but Arsenal 5. Then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 are pretty decent. So I do think that pick, was a win. And I still think going forward you should really consider keeping him because everyone from the looks of it just wants to go for the same team. So go for something different. He's playing well. He's getting, 90 minutes, 89 minutes, which is decent enough. So why not stick with him? And then my last one, wow, Chris Woods didn't go to plan, did it? Let's face it. So he did go up in price as well. He was 6 million. He is now 6.1 million. And, he was unfortunate, to be fair, because Nottingham Forest were absolutely battering Southampton. So the fact that he didn't come away with a goal, and he got a yellow card as well. So he played 74 minutes, got a yellow card. Oh, God. His expected goals was 0.24, not too bad, to be fair. His goal involvements was 0.33. I thought he would have scored, to be fair, but he didn't, and he only came with 1 point. So out of the 3, only one of them actually worked out. But again, like I said with Colwill, Chris Wood's fixtures are pretty decent. Wolves at home is game week 3. 4 is going to be difficult, but after that, Brighton doesn't sound good at the minute. Fulham, decent, I think. Chelsea, you can put leave on the bench there. And then Crystal Palace, Leicester, West Ham. So it's an okay run. Some teams are probably better than you realise, but He's only 6.1 million, so he's a bargain, which obviously gives you a better chance of getting some better players in midfield if you're going for cheaper options up front. So then on to game week 3 transfers, and the first up, the defender. I mean, obviously it has to be an Aston Villa defender realistically, because their fixtures are pretty good going forward, let's just say that. So obviously the most owned person, and the person I see most people looking at is Konza, of course. He's 12.7% now owned. Again, he is the same price as Pau Torres, who is the player I'm going to recommend in this game week, but you know, it's a toss of a coin really. I'm saying go for Pau Torres because he's 1.5% owned right now. So if he gets a goal, you know, and Konza doesn't, look at the gap there. You've got a big advantage in people there. Obviously, you could argue the other way around, but I just think he's the right person to go for. Obviously, as well, if there's any injuries, Konza will probably turn out to right back, but they do have the injury of Matty Cash right now, and they're saying the new right back who came on, I mean, I'm just going to run Costa, but just because I ain't going to attempt to say his surname just yet. He is 4 million, but I don't know if... I'm not going to go for it, but I wouldn't blame him if people did, because he's only 4%, or 4 million, should I say, own. His fixtures are good, but they could, like I've just said, move Konza out to right back, and then put a different centre-half pairing with Pau Torres. But Pau Torres is going to be starting nevertheless. Luca Dean, look, he's started both games, but he has come off early in both games, so it's like they're just biding their time before, is it Matt Mason, whatever his name is, before he comes on and starts week in, week out. Until he does, I wouldn't go for him, but he is 5 million as well, so he's a bit more pricey than all the other defenders. But yeah, like I said, Pau Torres starts 100%, quality the player, barely owned, great fixtures, makes sense to go for him. Midfield change. I've gone for a predictable one, of course, and I'm telling you now, this one, look, he's 38.6% owned current right now, so probably most people who are watching this have got him anyway, but if you haven't got him, you've got to be getting Cole Palmer. Now, I don't have him in game week 2. Now, when the season started, I said, I'm going to take Saka out for Cole Palmer for game week 2 because Saka has such a difficult fixture. Then Saka did well in game week 1 and I bottled that. So I didn't have Cole Palmer for game week 2 and he's just absolutely smashed it against Wolves. 3 assists, a goal, 2 bonus points. I mean, I was wondering how he'll play under Maresca. It looks like not much is going to change because he's just a quality player. And look at those fixtures. Just look at those fixtures, right? He is going to score goals left, right and centre. He's 10.5 million still, so he hasn't gone up in price just yet. I think they were saying he might do by the end, before game week 3 deadline, finishes. So you've got to get him in now realistically. Like I said, you could change him for a Saka. You could downgrade maybe a striker to get him in, but you've got to get him in. Crystal Palace at home as well in game week 3, which in my opinion is probably the best fixture out of the top teams in that game week. So he's also a captaincy option for game week 3. So I'm definitely going to tell you now, go for this guy. I'm looking at getting him for game week 3. You guys should be looking at him because he's just quality and he's going to score goals, no doubt about it. And let's not forget as well, he is on penalties. So yeah, Cole Palmer for me is pretty much now a must-have. So yeah, the final transfer is the striking option, obviously, and it's Liam Delap, which obviously doesn't sound sexy at all, really, does it? You think, well, maybe he's gone for, Havertz, or maybe he's gone for Ivan Toney if he goes Chelsea, possibly, which is still not confirmed. Maybe Mateta, it's Lanky fit. No, it's Liam Delap. He's 5.5 million though, and like I've just mentioned, if you want something like a Cole Palmer, which is really expensive, you need to downgrade a striker you're not happy with, maybe like an Isak, for example. Get him, Liam Delap. I keep thinking of Rory Delap. Get Liam Delap in. Look, his XG is non-existent at the moment, but he's just played the 2 of the 3 toughest teams in the Premier League in Liverpool and Man City. The only way it gets worse is if he had Arsenal game week 3, which he doesn't. He's got Fulham at home, which is a decent enough fixture. It's their first home fixture where they've got a chance of winning. So I do think he's worth going for. He's barely owned as well. It's 0.4%, which is obviously... people go, well, that's obvious because he plays for Ipswich. Who's going to want an Ipswich striker that's not proven in the Premier League yet? That is also true as well. But why not go for the gamble, eh? At the end of the day, if it doesn't work out in game week 3, you can just change him over to João Pedro straight away for game week 4, if they're still both priced at 5.5, obviously. But you see what I'm saying? Because João Pedro's got Arsenal in game week 3, so it's not quite worth going for him now. So if you are to take somebody out like an Isaac Attorney or whatever, so get Liam Delap in for game week 3. If you don't like it at all, game week 4 just change to João Pedro. It just makes perfect sense. So yeah, those are the 3 transfers I'm going to recommend ahead of game week 3. Let me know what you think of these 3 transfers. One of them I'm definitely looking at getting. Maybe a second one, not so sure about that. But one of them I've got my eyes on, I'm not going to lie. Let me know what you think of these transfers though. What transfers are you making ahead of game week 3? And please, before we go as well, do not forget to hit that like button, smash subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.